So we're going to start our new marine tank videos today. I wasn't going to bother with any new videos, but I've decided that there's enough things of interest that might help somebody else in the future, so I'm going to go through everything we've done. But this particular video is on this Aqua EVO 4 Reef dosing pump, and there's many dosing systems out there, and I bought this one at a premium, about 150 quid from Amazon. I think you can get it for less than that elsewhere, but I've got an Amazon account, so we tend to use that wherever possible. But I particularly wanted this one because it has this external display unit, and whilst most people probably want everything hidden away, I actually like to see the controllers and things around the wall of where the tanks are fitted, and this was no exception. Unfortunately, the couple of reviews I quickly looked at online, they all seemed to think that it was very good, but as usual with our legendary luck, we have been sent a system that is pretty dire in all respects. It's not the seller's fault. I've used Aqua for many purchases over the years. So, instruction manual, power supply with various adapters. All of these bags were open, and the UK adapter had already been fitted to this power supply, which leads me to the conclusion that this probably has gone out and has been returned faulty. Again, this bag was open. That is the separate display module, the main unit here, and then a little bit of tubing. So we're going to have a quick look at this, and we're going to explain why it's utter garbage, and why this one is faulty, and then it's going to be sent back. So, Aqua label, we've got 4 pumps, and what I didn't realise were these are the cheapest, nastiest Chinese made peristaltic pumps. We bought some of these 3-4 years ago, and they're just garbage, utter garbage. And the reason is, if I can get that one off, which we probably can't. Yeah, the reason is there is just the motor shaft here, and that is just in friction contact with the little roller mechanism in there, and the slightest problem, which means that this shaft just spins. It does not make proper contact, or good enough contact with the plastic inside to actually drive and turn this around. And that was the problem with the ones that we bought from China. They're just crap. It's as simple as that. They are. And if you want something reliable, then you're either going to have to be repairing these constantly, or you're going to need to look at a proper peristaltic pump where that shaft is actually attached to the drive gears or the drive mechanism and cannot slip. So we're just going to fire this up. Like I said, the adapter for the UK was already placed onto this, which, as I said, with all the bags being open, does lead me to believe that this was a used unit. This seemed particularly good with this separate external display, because this can go under the tank somewhere, and this can be mounted on the wall. But unfortunately, instead of just moulding 2 little holes in here so you can put a couple of screws in the wall and just click this in place, they have sent the ridiculous solution of double-sided tape. So you stick it on there and then you slap it on your wall, which means as soon as you want to take that off, you're going to be ripping wallpaper off or paint off or whatever, and it's going to be a complete mess. It's totally unacceptable these days. Everything else I've got has come with the little moulded holes. It's a little slot on a hole, so the screw can go into the wall, into the hole, and then just click it up into the slot, and that holds it in place perfectly, and you can remove it whenever you would like. So, first problem, I'll just power this up. You probably won't be able to see this on the camera, but this display is too bright. There's generally a setting on these LCD panels, and you can adjust the contrast slightly with a little potentiometer, and as I say, that is too bright. You can see background squares that make up each digit. Yeah, not impressed with that. These have ridiculous externally mounted LEDs. It's absolutely no need to have LEDs like this on the outside of a box that are going to be knocked off or attract corrosion. You know what it's like under a marine tank. There's going to be a bit of moisture in the air, a bit of salt, and they've mounted these on the outside. Just stupid. But the main problem is if you go into try and manually calibrate these, or just you can prime them manually. You go left or right, I think it is. Yeah. So you go right into the menu, and you've got manual mode pumps. Number 1. And if you press the center key, you can hear pump number 1 actually working and turning. I don't know whether you can see that in there, but you can actually see the mechanism turning. If we then go to pump 2, nothing happens, it doesn't turn. If we now go to pump 3, nothing happens. The motor turns, but it can't turn that. And if we go to pump 4, exactly the same thing. None of those 3 are pumping. And the reason is, when these are assembled, the rollers are pinching this pipe closed in certain areas, and they are now stuck in that position. So officially, the cure would be to take this apart and replace this silicon tubing, probably on these 3. But that to me is garbage, and that is not a reliable solution for a super expensive marine tank setup. And 150 quid, no. You can buy replacement whole complete pumps on eBay for about 4 quid, shipped from China. So you've got 16 quid's worth of pumps here, some basic controller. We've got hideous externally mounted LEDs, far too bright, absolutely no need for any of that. And this is over bright. You can't glue it, mount it where it's removable, and it's just a complete disappointment. Now, the other thing is, if you go onto eBay or Amazon and look up the Jebao or Jecod dosing pump, you will find that it is exactly the same as this. The same stupid LEDs mounted on the outside, same pumps, it's just got a different name, and instead of having the separate controller here, there's a controller mounted on the top. So, yeah, not acceptable to me in any way. Pretty certain this has been out to somebody else, but to have 3 out of 4 not working is just totally unacceptable, and that is going back for 150 quid refund plus the postage. And I suspect we're probably going to have to look at a far more professional solution long term. Proper peristaltic pumps, these are not proper peristaltic pumps. They are cheap, they are nasty, and if you purchase something with these, then you are just waiting for a problem to occur. It's just, on a marine tank setup, it's just not worth it. We need accuracy and reliability, and that's why what I've done with all the rest of the tank equipment, which we'll go through in future videos. But this is not acceptable, and I would not buy anything with this type of pump unless you're happy on a near daily basis checking that each of them actually turns, because when you do need it to be dosing, you really can't guarantee that it is. So, sorry, Aqua, piece of junk from China. Was not expecting that. The Jebao Jecod version of this with the built-in display is about 60 quid. So we're paying best part of 100 quid extra for this for the sake of an external display, and it doesn't work. So yeah, it's don't buy.